Hello everybody and welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, host of Wine Library TV, aka biggest Jets fan in the world. Come on, Fireman Ed, step up. Okay, I am angry at Fireman Ed because I like to fight. Other things that like to fight are Merlot versus Pinot Noir. Why, you may ask? Well, Hollywood got involved and you know what that's gonna always do to the equation. It is unbelievable to me, looking at the end of the year numbers, what kind of dip Merlot took and what kind of growth Pinot Noir took. And it could only be to one thing, the Sideways movie where he goes nuts. And oh, by the way, for all you real wine fans, did you notice what the big wine, the wine that he was holding for the end, the wine that he cherished the most? That was a Merlot. Kind of ironic in the mix of that entire movie. Us wine nerds went like, pretty cool. But what's not cool is a very solid grape in the world of wine getting bashed. Now, I am going to tell you that I'm not the biggest Merlot fan that ever walked the earth, but wines like Chateau Petrus, Masseto, and many, many, many other wines in this world are based off Merlot. And today, what I did was I printed the 4 biggest selling Merlots in the month of January from Wine Library and winelibrary.com and decided to taste them and see why they're big sellers or why they're not big sellers. Well, actually, they are big sellers. So why are they big sellers? So let's taste them. I've got 4 wines, 3 from California, 1 from Chile, and we're going to taste them, and I'm pretty excited about it. Mainly because I don't get a chance to try wines like this often, and are great reference points for the palate. And I recommend for you, a lot of people, as they grow up, as they say in the wine world, and start tasting better and better things, tend to not drink wines that are everyday consumed, and it's tough to not have a reference point, especially if you're a sommelier, or you're a waiter, or you're in the wine business. Don't forget, and I try to do a good job, I mean, I'm pretty good at it, but, you know, for example, I have not had any of these 4 wines in a while. Don't forget to drink the mass-produced wines because it gives you a tremendous reference point and allows you to really evaluate wines on a scale compared to what most people are drinking. So, with that all being said, let's start right off the bat. And we've got the Smoking Loon 2005 Merlot. This is a big, big seller for us. This is now the I'm starting with the number 1 seller. This is actually the number 1 selling wine. I'm going down, and just happens to be by body weight that I thought would be the best way. This is $7.10. And I'm pretty excited about trying it. Smoking Loon has done a great job. Great package change a couple years ago has made it a very big brand. $7.10. It absolutely flies off the shelf. And let's see what's going on here. Solid color. I mean, what a good everyday price point for this wine. Coming through with a pretty like dirty, soiled grape juice flavor. Not really the best nose I've ever come across. Little hint of mint actually coming through as well, which is mainly saved for Cabernets, but this Merlot definitely shows that these wines have been opened for about 2 hours, which is fine for the price point. Nice traces of blackberry coming through. The acidity is the tannin structure is a little off. It's a little bit bitter on the mid palate. I don't like the fact that there's some greenish herbal flavors on the finish. Not so pleasant on the palate. Tastes a little bit like gourmet tea, which I like, but not to just munch on. Well, you know me, I probably do, but you know, but it definitely has a little bit of that going on. Not horrible for $7.10. I'm going to score this wine 84 points. It doesn't do much for me, but you know, the blackberry and the gourmet tea flavors are interesting and a very good entry price. It's not horrible. I probably wouldn't recommend it, but I know a lot of people drink it because it's our biggest selling Merlot. Let's move on. Trinchero Family 2004 Monterey Merlot. This is $8.99, and this is the Trinchero family, the people that brought you Sutter home. This is their, you know, mainstream California brand. They've got some really nice single vineyard Cabernets and Zinfandels under their Trinchero family. I've been impressed with them. Monterey County Merlot, and let's see what's going on. Again, right off the bat, much, much better color than the Smoking Loon. Nice nose, actually. Very, very impressive for a $9 California wine, which I'll be the first to admit, I'm pretty prejudiced under $10 in California. I tend to poo-poo those wines, but this is pretty serious. This has a nice, dark chocolate candied nose. A little hint of dark licorice, which is quite nice. Pretty solid. A little bit of a chalkiness, you know, when you go to the board and you hit the erasers and you get some of that into your mouthfeel. I'm getting a little bit of that. Also a little bit green, you know, I'm definitely getting green. I'm definitely getting a little bit of a green pepper, asparagus coming through a little bit. I gotta tell you, I like the lushness and the complexity on the palate. And the fruit is a little Kool-Aid, but I don't mind Kool-Aid sometimes, especially when it's integrated to taste a little bit more like wine. Not horrible. Definitely better than Smoking Loon. I'm going to score this wine 85 plus. 86 maybe. Let's go 86 points. It's not bad. And for $9, it's a good entry level. And this is the kind of bottle that you may want to seek out if you're trying to figure out if you like Merlot entry level, especially for the newbies. Not too bad. Let's move on. This is a killer. This is the biggest selling wine of 2006 in the Merlot category, not in January. But this is the Blackstone Merlot 2004, $7.68. I have a feeling nationally it could be even less than that. It's just a gut feel. I always felt like it wasn't the cheapest in New Jersey. But so this wine you could probably find in the $6, $7 range. This is the reigning champion of Merlot. This is the standard. Blackstone is a huge, huge national brand. I don't care if my fans in Sri Lanka are watching. I think you should be able to find this wine. It is absolutely everywhere. And Dennis Hill, the winemaker, has done a real good job. I mean, this brand has exploded. Again, solid color, more in the realm of the Trinchero. This has a little bit more spiciness to it. I'm getting a little bit of blackberry, a little bit of cherry as well in the nose. Almost like a hint of, I almost want to call it like cherry mustard. I'm getting a mustard aspect, but it's so overridden by the cherry nose. It's just kind of, you know, if there is a cherry mustard. If there's a cherry mustard, please email me. I'd like to try it out. It's kind of got that nose. Not so great. I find this wine pretty messed up. The tannins are all over the place. The fruit is pretty muted. This, to me, is what's wrong with California Merlot in this price range. I mean, it's drinkable. I'm sure there's a lot. I just don't like it. The flavor profile is not great. I find the wine thin. The finish tastes like dirty cardboard with a fruit salad on top of it, but then you take the fruit salad off and you just eat the cardboard. You know, I'm going to score this wine 74 points, and obviously, man, I put it. All right, let's move on. Terranoble 2004 Gran Reserva Merlot from Chile. This I'm excited about. This has been selling really well, mainly because it's got 90 points from Wine and Spirits, and it's $12. Let's see what it's all about. Give it a little bit of a rinse from our good friend Blackstone. Okay. Let's give this a whirl. This is funky. Very interesting nose. What the heck does this... This one's catching me a little bit off guard. Hold on one second. This has like a, God, there's definitely some cherry, but God, there's something that, it's almost like a winter fresh gum smell. I mean, my whole, like, nose has now gone winter freshy, and I like that. God, what is that? It's so it's like almost like if you know what I would call if there was a perfume called like Sky Breeze. Like that's what this smells like, and that's what it's got going on. Interesting. Nice firm tannins. Tastes a little bit more like a real wine. Structured well. Reminds me a little bit more of the Bordeaux-based Merlots you have. Very dry, austere. Getting some earthy tones, a little soil, a little dirty bark, a little cedar box, tobacco, a little cocoa bean. Nice wine, but believe it or not, the mid palate is crazy hollow, and that makes Gary sad. Oh, no third person. I've been so good for like 50 episodes. Anyway, Gary's sad, and because of that, I can't see where Wine and Spirits goes 90 on this wine. I'm going to go 87 plus. It's a solid bottle of Merlot. I like the fact that it's real. Keeping it real is nice in the wine world, but I can't recommend it very heavily because the flavor profile is just not appealing or delicious, and obviously that's a problem because I think that's what most people want. Obviously, with maybe, the first thing that came to mind was with maybe with some foie gras, not pancier, but maybe the pâté, or maybe some steak tartare. So, I think this would go well with some nice French cuisine, could bump it up a little bit, but definitely not by itself. This is definitely a food wine of the bunch. The dark cherry is pretty obvious, and that's good, but still a very austere, dry wine. Very dry. So, that makes me want to rank them like this. I sure felt like I wanted to be the Crusader for Merlot. I didn't go crazy for these. Maybe we're going to have to do an upscale $20, $30 Merlot episode. But it's great to see that there's some drinkable wine under $10 or $12 in that Merlot range. Trinchero I liked a lot. $9, I would say that's a buy. Definitely if you want to learn a little bit about under $10 Merlot, looking for something every day. And more importantly, I'm really interested in hearing from you. So, question of the day. What is your favorite Merlot that you've been drinking in the last year or so? Because, what's the truth? You, with a little bit of me, we're changing the wine world, aren't we?